Let me switch the camera here. Okay, there we go. We're live. And so 2 days in a row here. So I get a text from my buddy, says that the Secret Service director, Chirtor, or whatever the heck her name is, was having a hearing in front of Congress. And we're going to get some answers here. We're going to find out what happened on this attempt in Butler, this whack job taking a shot at Trump. We're going to find out all the details. We're going to get it from the horse's mouth. The buck stops here, that the director of the Secret Service. So she comes in. I watched about an hour of it. They're all asking the same questions over and over again. And she basically is an expert at obfuscation, right? She's not going to answer any questions, anything of substance. She's just going to dodge all their questions. She's under subpoena, right? The penalty of perjury and so on and so forth on all this nonsense and potential contempt of Congress and so on. But she doesn't care. She's not going to answer any questions. She's going to dodge everything. So as usual, I have a different take from just about everybody else out there. My take is they're making a big deal out of this assassination attempt against Trump, that it's like the end of democracy if something like this happens. Every time we turn around, it's the end of democracy, right? And I have a different take. My take is, why is the federal government so powerful in the first place? Why is the federal government such a big deal to everybody's daily lives? It's not supposed to be. The founders of this country wanted a very small, a very weak federal government because they wanted everything to be handled by the state and local governments, states' rights, you know? And so why have we gotten into a situation where the federal government is so important? Why is there so much money involved in the federal government? Why do they spend trillions of dollars? Why do people that become elected officials become wealthy? Why does an ex-president leave office and he's worth $100 million and he came in being worth $2 million? Why is this the case? Okay, these are the questions that should be asked and answered. And they ask her about the failure of the Secret Service and so forth. And they're shocked that a government agency is not very good at things, right? Where we have over and over again, we see how the federal government is not good at things, okay? This is normal, okay? This is why the founding fathers wanted the federal government to be small, because they knew it was good at a few things, maybe, taking care of imports, things coming into our ports, maybe being able to spool up an army when needed, right? And even that is mainly done by the states. Back in the day, they would all have their militias and so on, and they all combine them together and then they fight a war. But anyway, I digress. So they knew that a big federal government, a big powerful federal government, they knew that would be problematic, okay, I guess is what I'm saying. So they put a lot of limits on what the federal government could do because they knew this, right? So now we're in a situation many, many years later where we've got a big, powerful federal government and everybody cares about what the federal government is doing. I mean, the federal government sneezes and the stock market reacts, right? 100 years ago, half of the people in this country had their own businesses. I think it's now less than 20%. People were not dependent on government. They did their own thing. They were rugged individualists, right? That's what built this country and made it great. Not a big federal government. So yeah, my take on this whole thing is I am really glad that I have Bitcoin. I'm really glad because that was my insurance policy against big overreaching government, federal government in particular. Was I decided years ago to buy Bitcoin as an insurance policy against a big overreaching government. And it turned out that was a good bet, that works out. Bitcoin, the more the federal government overreaches and the more it grows and the more powerful it gets, the more purchasing power Bitcoin accrues, because the federal government is forced to debase the dollar. They issue more dollars, if you will. They debase it. That's called debasement, currency debasement. And so Bitcoin is a great insurance policy against that. And this is just another example. This whole thing with the Secret Service, now they're like, we need more resources, right? This is every time the government fails at something, okay? The answer is more resources. Read that as more money, okay? Read that as diving into your pocket for more of your hard-earned dollars that you work hard to earn, right? That's what that is. And by the way, here's my Bitcoin shirt, okay? Bitcoin. And so here's the thing. The only solution to all of these problems is defunding government, defunding especially big federal government. And the way that's going to happen over time, it's going to take time, but the more people go on a Bitcoin standard and get Bitcoin, then the less resources the federal government is going to have. And at some point, they're going to have to make rational decisions and say, hey, wait a minute now, the gravy train is ending. We don't have unlimited money. We can't just rev up the money printer and print money willy-nilly and do whatever the hell we want. Those days are over. So they're going to have to make some choices, and they're going to have to be pared down, right? You know, we don't need all these federal government agencies. We don't need, at an event like took place in Butler, we don't need 15 different agencies handling security. That's not efficient, okay? That's not the way to do things. The government has all these layers and all these different agencies. Half the time they can't communicate with each other. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. You ever hear the old saying, too many cooks in the kitchen? Okay? I think Trump would have been better off if he had the local motorcycle gang roll in and handle security for him. Wouldn't have cost him anything. They would have done it. Okay, they would have loved to be at the rally and handle security. Have them roll in on their Harleys, about 200 or 300 of them, and let them handle security. They would have been smart enough to make sure all those rooftops are secure. They would have handled any douchebag walking around with a rangefinder, right? They'd have handled him. They might have roughed him up a little bit, but hey, it's just the way things happen sometimes. I think that they would have done a better job, the local motorcycle club, if they rolled in with about 150, 200 Harleys. I think they would have done a better job securing that venue, and it would have cost zero taxpayer dollars. Zero, okay? Zero. So what do you think about that? So you know, this is just illustrating that big, huge federal government is not good at things. That's all I'm trying to say here. And if you agree with me, if you think that Bitcoin is a good insurance policy against all of this, then comment down below that you have some Bitcoin set aside. Now this is Bitcoin in self-custody that you control, that you have the secret words, right? Doesn't count if it's on some exchange or if it's a Bitcoin ETF. I have that also in my Roth IRA, by the way, but I'm talking Bitcoin in self-custody. Do you think that's a good insurance policy against big, efficient, overreaching federal government? What do you think? And do you think the local motorcycle club with about 150 Harleys rolling in, maybe from Pittsburgh, they roll on down from Pittsburgh and roll into town and handle that security. I guess it was Butler. Was that where it was? Butler, Pennsylvania? I don't know. Anyway, the little town, not too far from Pittsburgh. If those good old boys rolled down from Pittsburgh about 150, maybe 200 Harleys, what do you think? Do you think they would have done a good job handling that security situation there? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. The hearing was ridiculous. All that woman did was dodge questions, and she's a politician. She's not a security expert. She's not the best for that situation, that local situation, because she's a bureaucrat, okay? And she's covering her own butt, and that's the way this whole thing works. And this is no shock. This should come as no surprise to anybody. This is the kind of thing that happens over and over again with the federal government. Okay, they're not good at things. I keep having this argument with my buddy. Actually, the guy that texted me and said this hearing was going on, he's the one that always thinks that we can solve this problem. Okay, we just get Trump in, that's going to solve the problem. Or we get so-and-so in, or we just do this so we can fix this problem. This problem is not fixable, okay? This government has gotten too huge, too bloated. The only fix is to defund them. It's just like a drug addict, right? You got to take away the drugs. I'm sorry, it's painful, but you got to take away the drugs. All right, that's the way you do it. In this case, the drug is money. Follow the money. All these people are getting rich, okay? As I mentioned in my last live stream, like 8 of the top 10 counties as far as wealth are right around Washington, D.C., okay? This is where the rich people are, right? Where do they get the money? They didn't build businesses to get the money, okay? They're feeding at the government trough. They're on the government dole. So there we go. There we have it. This is what's going on. The only fix is get yourself secure, get yourself some Bitcoin, and just see how this whole thing plays out. And I think you're going to be fine. You're going to be better off than most. I'll put it that way. So we're going to wrap this puppy up. Let's see how I do this here, because I'm shooting this one horizontal, and I'm not sure what the hell I'm doing. But let me just tap on this. And hey, subscribe, like, comment, share, all those kind of good things. And we'll talk at you guys later.